welcome back. This is Amy and Amanda.
Or Erin.
Oh my God! What the fuck? We're gonna do a take two on this one. Welcome back. This is the Biz Hive. We are two of your three Biz Hive queens. I am Amy and this is Erin. Today we wanted to talk to you on something that we've been seeing posted in a couple of other networking groups, and we've had a couple people ask us about starting your business and doing some of the first steps before you get all excited and carried away and spend too much money and too much effort on something that actually at the end of the day will come back and actually hurt you and harm your business and cost money and take your time. So what are the A, B's, and C's that you need to do when you first decide to go into business for yourself and become an entrepreneur before you can do the D, E, and F or the X, Y, and Z?
Basically, think about this as, what are the things I need to do before I start promoting this business?
Oh yeah, like
so important.
beginning stages. Like I have a business idea.
Yes.
And I'm still open to suggestions, and I'm in the market research phase because that is one of our things.
Yes.
So before you have business cards,
Yes.
and you are dead set on a name and you've created a Facebook page, before any of that, the first thing you need to do is look at whether or not you have a viable business idea. Your idea may be awesome. It may be what fuels you. It may be what you're passionate about. But if it is not a viable business idea, meaning can make you money and can withhold the struggles, do you want a hobby or do you want a business? And if you want a hobby, that's okay. But if you want a business, you need to make money and it needs to make sense. So the first thing I suggest you do is do some market research. Are there businesses like yours? So I'm just going to take hair removal in Chilliwack as an example because that's what I do. So before I started Sugared, I looked at what other places in town offer hair removal of every kind. Who offers waxing? Who offers threading? Who offers laser? Who offers electrolysis? I'm not even talking about the fact that people can buy at-home kits in the store or buy a razor and shave themselves at home. If you're going to go to a place and have them remove your hair, who offers it? How do they do it? And what do they charge?
Yeah.
If the market was inundated, I did not have a business plan.
Yeah.
Right off the map. So if there was already 10 other sugaring places in town, probably not a good idea to open a sugaring business, right? Every freaking nail salon in town offers waxing, and there's like 5 spas in town that offer waxing. For me to offer waxing from my home with like probably 50 other places that aren't listed and don't have a website because they're a hairdresser or they just are smaller, probably not a profitable business idea. But because I had something that wasn't out there, because there was no other sugaring places, I proceeded to step number 2. And step number 2 was, even though my idea is unique and the market isn't inundated, will people pay me money to do this to them? Because even though I have a phenomenal idea and it's unique, if nobody will pay me to do it, not a viable business plan. So what I personally did was I went out to a giant event called Yarrow Days, which I believe was the beginning of June back in 2013. And I handed out 100 cards to people. And the cards said, if I were to offer this service at this price, would you pay for it? And then it asked other questions as well, like, do you get hair removed? Because if nobody gets hair removed, doesn't matter if I offer a great service at a decent price. Then what I also did is I offered free services to everybody for 3 months. And then I asked them a questionnaire at the end. If I offered this at this price, would you pay for it? Now here's one little tidbit I'm going to say, and I'm sure Erin can attest to it as well. When you are at the beginning and you're offering free services to try to get some market research, so it's a trade, you have to take what those people say with a grain of salt. I'm not saying don't believe them, but the people who will come to you when you're offering free services are most likely not going to pay a red cent once you start charging.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there who all they want is free.
Yeah. They are, so you have different levels of clientele, right? So you have to be very clear when you're developing your products and your pricing as to what type of client you're attracting. And I think what's really important that Amy said is when you are offering these free services for exposure, and this is what I did in my movement studio, is we offered trial classes, and we just wanted to see, are people going to be excited about this?
Yeah.
Is what I developed usable for them? And then the last question is, would they pay for it?
Exactly.
And so when you're promoting this opportunity for them to come experience for free, be very clear that there is still an exchange happening, that there is an expectation that they will provide feedback for you.
Right.
It's not just everybody come do my thing for free.
And buy.
It's that I am going to engage this. I'm going to offer this for you because this is where I'm at, and here is what I need from you.
We had like a post-service interview,
Yeah.
if you will. What did you think about sugaring beforehand? How do you feel about it now? Is what you expected to happen what happened, or was it something different?
Yeah.
If I offered this service and you had to pay this much money, would you do it?
Yes.
Because the people who were like, free, hell yeah, bring it on. But they're not going to pay.
Yeah.
Right? So take what they say with a grain of salt, but make sure you're asking questions. And at this point in time, when you're doing your market research, ask as many questions as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Gather all that information, and then you can look at it and do with it as you want. But there's no harm in asking a lot of questions, especially if they're under the understanding that you're giving them a free service or a heavily discounted service in exchange for that information.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to add in just to this point is also look at your city demographics, because one of the mistakes that learning experiences that I had in my business is I had my business in one city, and then not more than 25 minutes away, I opened a second location of the same business, and different city. Didn't do my due diligence and actually researching the new city that I was going into, finding out the population, finding out the demographics, both from a age, sex standpoint, but also from a value standpoint. I just assumed 20 minutes down the road couldn't be that different.
It should work, right?
Guys, night and day.
Not necessarily.
Had I done that, I would have approached that second location in a completely different way. So I love like diving in and asking all those questions, providing the service, make sure it's viable,
right?
And then also contacting the city and actually looking into the demographics and population of that city to make sure
that information is actually really easy to get on pretty much any city's website.
Yeah.
So like I could go onto the City of Chilliwack website and find out how many people live here, how many of them are women, how many of them are men, and what percentage the age is. Also, what is the percentage and approximate income of all those people? Because for both of our businesses, and probably very many of yours, they are wants, not needs. I do not provide water and electricity. I provide a want. It is above and beyond their basic needs. So my clients have to have an expendable income. That's just the way it works. If they are like barely scraping by with groceries, they're not going to come pay for me to remove their hair. That's just not the way it works. So you have to make sure that the people in your area, in your city, wherever your demographics are located, that they are the right gender, they're the right age, and they have the right income for whatever you're charging. Or you may have to wiggle with your price point. So then speaking of price point, one of the things I did was when I looked at who else out there was offering hair removal services, I looked at their price points. Now, so shaving and threading maybe are probably at the low end of the spectrum. Electrolysis and lasers at the high end, but I don't offer either of those. So for me, I kind of paralleled it with waxing. It's a similar service, it's a similar price point. So I wanted to make sure that I was not the highest, and I wanted to make sure I was not the lowest. I wanted to make sure I was kind of smack dab in the middle with the places that offer the same atmosphere and experience to their clientele. If you walk into a nail salon and they wax you in the broom closet and they charge X amount of dollars, I don't need to compare my prices with that because I'm offering a completely different experience. No broom closet here. So I kind of am just one step down from a spa. I'm more at like the hair salon price point than I am with a broom closet, back room, nail salon waxing. Make sense?
And another way that you can kind of massage that price point a bit is, so for me in my movement studio, my services are on the higher end of niche movement market, like yoga or Pilates or spinning, things like that. I'm on the higher end of the price point.
Niche market, good term there.
Totally. Because I don't compare myself to gyms because we're not a gym. People don't just come in and have access to what we have, be able to come and go as they choose and leave. Every single one of the classes that we offer are instructor-led, and they are minimal class sizes. So we can I can justify charging a slightly higher price point
Absolutely.
because there's never more than 12 people in a class. So that makes a lot of sense, because if you go to a yoga class, there could be 30 people in that yoga class. So if my price point is a little bit higher than the yoga that's in the area, I can justify it to my clientele because of how we roll our classes out.
And also, just kind of touching on this, a yoga class is based on drop-in. And so if only 3 people show up, they might cancel the class. Whereas Erin's class, that wouldn't happen because it's a registered program.
Yeah.
So play with your numbers, but definitely do your research to see where your number should be fitting in. Don't just go, I'd pay $15 for this.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to charge.
Yes. Yeah. So what are some things, Amy, that are like on a technical standpoint of things when you are starting a business that you want to make sure you have, like your registration and things
So
like
glad
that?
you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I know somebody who did not do her homework and did not register her business name with the government. Pretty much just decided, I'm going to work from home, so there aren't that many things I need to do legal-wise. Created a Facebook page, created a business card, and then just started operating. And did not do any research. And the name that she chose was a completely different industry, but the exact same name as something in her town. They sued her. She lost her home. Not even kidding.
It's a big deal, you guys. And not only just from a legal standpoint, but also, as you know, when you're looking to develop your business, or if you are mature in business, you know how much time and energy you've spent building your reputation around your name. And so if another business starts, you do have to pursue them to stop using your name because it's been trademarked, or you've purchased it as your own business name. So,
And your personal name is attached to your business name. So you don't want somebody dragging that through the mud,
yeah, when you're a sole proprietor.
right?
Yeah.
So do your research. It costs $100 to have the government do a search for, actually, I don't even think that's true. I think it's like $45. Anyways, it's fairly cheap for the government to do a search on your business name. So what you do is you put forth, I think, 3 to 5 options that you would like in order that you would like them. So let's just say I wanted Blue Bottle, because there's a Blue Bottle right there, Blue Bottle Bakery. Oh, look at me and my alliterations. Okay, I'm going to open a bakery. It's going to be called Blue Bottle Bakery. And then just in case Blue Bottle is taken, then I'm going to go with, I don't know,
Blue Butterfly Bakery.
right? And then the list goes on. So if the government does a search and there is a Blue Bottle, it doesn't even have to be a bakery. If there's Blue Bottle beer something and it's in your province, they probably will not let you have that. So you really have to do your research. So you can do a lot of research before you even register your name or do the registration search with the government. Go online. Type it into the Google search engine, type it into the Facebook search engine, type it into all these different things and see what's out there.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have all of your eggs in the Blue Bottle Bakery basket and then have the government burst your bubble. Oh, I'm on a
Oh
roll.
my gosh.
So, do your research first and then go with the government, and they get back to you fairly quick, like within a couple of weeks. And I know you're excited at the beginning and you want to go fast, fast, fast. But this is a crucial step, and it's going to cover your butt in the long run. Here's a perfect example. I don't know if any of you guys have been following it in the news, but Brown's Social House just trademarked the term social house. So any restaurant or pub or business in at least BC, if not Canada, that didn't trademark their name previously has to change their name.
Which is a big deal because everyone is using Social House right now.
Right?
Yeah.
They trademarked the phrase social house. So any business out there that didn't register with the government or trademark it has to change their business card, their website, their menu, their signage. Pretty much has to change their business.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's very expensive. It was very smart
Yes.
for Brown Social House to do that.
Yeah.
But this is why research and doing A, B, and C before D, E, and F is so important.
Yeah.
But D, E, and F is the fun stuff. That's the design. That's the business cards. That's the froofy, fluffy, fun stuff. But you have to do the work first.
You got to do the black and white because
or
honestly,
it will
you guys,
burn you.
yeah, you will spend a lot of time doing the stuff that's a lot of fun, and then it will become a big burden because you have to go back and fix it, not
And
just from a time
It
standpoint,
may
but
be like
financially.
so heart crushing and soul crushing
Yeah.
that you're just like, whatever, I don't even want to do it anymore. And then it has sucked the joy out of something that's really supposed to be
Yeah.
a lot of fun and it's supposed to be your passion. So after you've done your legal registration name search through the government, then you pay the government, and one of them is $100 and one of them is like $50. I can't remember which one's which, but you pay them to register that name.
Yeah.
And then that name is yours. Now there's a provincial and then there's a federal. So because I only have one location and I'm not planning on expanding into other provinces, just did provincial. But if I were to expand into a different province, I would go on a national search. And if you think you might be going into multiple provinces at the beginning, do the big national search at the beginning because you don't want to have to change it once you're big and want to start moving around.
Yeah.
So not a lot of money, a little bit of work, and all you have to do is just wait for time for that to come in. Once you have that, you're golden. Then you can play. Were you going to interject?
Then get your domain name.
Oh, very good idea.
Yeah, because it is really common practice. So when I started my business 12 years ago, people were just starting to purchase up domain names when a name became popular. Now, if you don't have something unique, you cannot find your domain name, and you're going to have to purchase it from someone who bought it in the hopes that somebody was going to start a business with this name, and you will pay dearly for it.
I just played a board game the other day, and it had like fun facts, like you could win Ben Stein's money. Nobody knows this shit thing. And it was the domain name www.pizza.com was sold in like 2015, and guess how much it sold for? And that was the question. And the answer was over $2 billion.
Yes, it is big business. So when you have your business name registered, then make sure that you have purchased a domain name that can function well for you. And they don't always have to be the same.
No.
So just because my studio name is The Goddess Movement, I happened 12 years ago to be able to purchase thegoddessmovement.com. I also purchased at that time thegoddessmovement.ca.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
If you are going to go with one thing, gobble it up. Get the .org, the .net, the .com, the .today, the .everything,
Yes.
so that somebody else can't come along. Can I just interject for 1 second? I'm part of a women's service club organization, and because we have women and lady and girl in a lot of our names, the porn industry also has women and lady and girl in a lot of their names. And if you do one of our names .com, and then you do .ca, one of them is going to bring you to a really nice women empowerment website where you can help women in your community, and the other one is going to bring you to a porn site. So considering that the majority of the women in my service club are 60 and 70 years old,
Probably not doing porn.
wrong demographic.
Yeah.
So if you get the opportunity, and I'm talking like $100, maybe, like it's a very, very small amount of money in the big picture of things. So if you can get all of the whatevers,
Yes.
get them.
Yes.
Even if you don't use them, they can all funnel into the one that you use.
Yes. So, and in keeping with the concept that the web domain name does not have to be the same as your registered business name, when we looked at creating the BizHive, part of what we did on Facebook is just to figure out, is there the BizHive on Facebook?
Does it exist already
Does it
somewhere
exist?
else?
Because we wanted to have a unique enough name on Facebook so that you guys could find us. And so that's why we're BizHive Queens.
Yep,
right?
because the BizHive and BizHive were already taken, but they were taken by groups in other countries.
Yes.
So we figured you would know that we're not a group of men in New Zealand.
Yes. So that's, again, another one of those behind the scenes kind of steps that you want to develop. And now with social media, you want to do that in all of your social media aspects too, not just your domain name. So look at what it's going to be on Facebook. Look at what it's going to be on Instagram.
Even if you're not planning on using Twitter, take the name.
Do it. Yeah.
So somebody else can't come and take it later, like Social House.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So then once you have that, then you need to register with your city. Now here's where it can get tricky. Brick and mortar businesses and home-based businesses have different rules, and different cities have different rules. So I'm not going to tell you what the rules are. Just go research them with your city.
Yeah.
And if your city is anything like my city, they're not necessarily easy to come by. There is no, you've decided to create a business. Here is a checklist of all of the things that you need. It would be very nice if that were the case, but it's not necessarily the case. If you don't touch people, if you just sit across from a computer with them, then the rules are very different from businesses like mine where I touch people, or with errands where people could possibly be doing physical things, and then there might be need like an insurance standpoint.
Yeah.
So for my business, Fraser Health needed to get involved. And I could not get my city business license until Fraser Health had approved me. But they have two completely different lists of rules.
Yeah.
So The city told me I needed Fraser Health, so then I contacted Fraser Health. I got the list of rules. I followed those rules. I got my certification from Fraser Health, and then I took that with my registered legal business name, and I took both those pieces of paper to the city, and I said, now I would like my city license, and that's how I got my city license.
Yeah. Yeah, and just so you guys know, working with the city is not always a peach of a time. And you have to be very diligent. So if you're not getting the information that you're desiring or that you need in a timely fashion, you just have to stay on it. You have to stay on it. So,
because they don't care. They're busy. They got a business to run themselves. But this is matters to you.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to do the legwork.
Yeah. So don't expect them to they're not a business in that they need to have you as a customer.
You need them.
Yes, you need them. So just keep that in mind and don't get weary in the works of doing this stuff. Yeah, so just know, okay, I'm probably going to have to follow up many, many times to make sure that I get the information that I need because this is my business and I'm in control of my business.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let somebody else control it.
And if your city hall is anything like our city hall, go in person and talk to a person.
Yeah.
If I call, I find that I leave umpteen voicemails that never get returned. Mm-hmm. If I send an email that doesn't even get acknowledged, I find it way more beneficial for me and more fitting with my time schedule to actually just go in person and be like, hey, I have some questions, can you answer them? Because the people there are very knowledgeable, and once you've stood in line and you have their full undivided attention, you're going to get all the answers that you need. But going actually to Fit City Hall as opposed to calling or emailing, I think is probably your better bet.
Yeah, and I registered in a different city than Amy, and I had the same experience.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so go in person. Just make sure you book the time. It's part of your work as your business owner.
It won't take long, like half an hour max.
Book your time, go in, have the conversations, build the relationship. Because the other thing that I found happened is the more I showed my face in there to the different departments that I had to work with, the more they knew me when I phoned.
Yeah.
Right? They knew my business name, they had my face, they had a conversation with me. And if the conversation is pleasant and you see them repetitively, they're much more happy to help you out.
And frankly, you need their help.
You do. You need their help, and you need them to be on your side. So as much as the process could be frustrating, go about it as if this is someone you need to be on your side
because
and treat it as such. Yeah. Is there anything else behind the scenes?
I'm sure there are, but those are the ABs and Cs.
Yeah.
So, and that's the order in which you need to do them.
Yes.
You cannot get your city license until you have your legal name registered with the government, and you cannot get your legal name registered with the government until you've done the search.
Yeah.
So what you need to do at the very beginning is do your research, figure out what you want to offer, what you want to call it, and how you're going to offer it. Because if you cannot provide a service or a product that is unique enough that people will pay the prices you need in the area that you need, you don't have to do all the other steps.
Yeah.
You're going to have a business.
Yeah, agreed.
So once you've done that research, then you're like, okay, I have a good plan, and now we're talking name. Then you do the government one, you do the domain one, and then you do the city one. And then the city will tell you if you need Fraser Health or any other things. And at that point, then you can look at where you're going to go. And going into a building that already exists versus going into your home versus building a building, all three completely different balls of wax, and all three have their own different sets of rules. But you don't need to look at a facility to hold your business if you don't have a business.
Yes, agreed.
So make sure you do your A, B's, and C's before you move on to anything else, even though the other stuff may seem tempting because it's fun.
Yeah. It will be so much more fun when you've taken care of all of the other stuff.
And then you're actually going to be able to get to your opening day way quicker.
Yes.
And you're not going to lose your house in the process.
Yeah. Yes.
And if you have any questions, go talk to somebody who owns a business similar to yours in the area.
Yeah.
I highly doubt they're going to ignore you.
Yeah, reach out to us in our group because there's a lot of people who may be more willing to provide information if they're not in the same city with a similar business.
That's true.
Right? Because then it's you have that fine line of how much do I help?
Because you don't want to help somebody put you out of business.
Yeah. So reach out in the group and just say, hey, here's what I'm wanting to offer. Does anybody have any information that could be beneficial for me? Because we also want this to be an experience where you guys are learning from each other. We have had our experiences. They're not by any means complete in the business world, meaning we don't know everything there is to know about everything. So let's use each other, let's support each other, and let's keep rocking our kick-ass businesses.
I like it. All right.
Peace.
Thanks, guys. So,
That's good.
I think that was good.
Yeah.